It's UofL Today on 93.9 The Ville. Here's your host, Mark Hebert.
Welcome to UofL Today with Mark Hebert. Glad you're joining us today. And to all of you 93.9 The Ville listeners, thanks for joining us and sticking around to listen to us. And for those of you watching on Metro TV, thanks to those of you who are tuning in. So we're going to talk about all the great things going on at the University of Louisville, at least some of the great things going on at the University of Louisville. Research, great students, you're going to hear from them, some of the events going on at UofL. It's not just about sports, though we will talk to some UofL student athletes in this show, and you'll want to hear from them. They are just stellar student athletes with the emphasis on students, and they'll be joining us to talk about their community service work. UofL student athletes have more community involvement than just about every other school in the country, and we'll brag about that a little bit, and we'll brag on them a little bit. We'll also hear from the head of the Latin American and Latino Studies program at UofL. They do a lot of community outreach and programming in addition to having a terrific academic program for students. But first, you've probably heard about what's called the Ferguson Effect. It's in the news lately, as you probably heard. The Ferguson Effect is the idea that police across the country are being less aggressive in battling crime because of the riots, investigations, and worldwide attention brought to Ferguson, Missouri. Well, a UofL faculty member who's sitting right in front of me has produced some research on whether police are backing off and crime rates are rising as a result of the focus on police incidents in Ferguson, Baltimore, Cleveland, and other cities. Justin Nix is a professor in the Criminal Justice Department at UofL. Hello, Justin.
Hey, how are you?
Good. And you're fairly new to UofL, aren't you?
I just began July 1st of this year.
So you're a newbie. Well,
Yeah.
Welcome to Louisville then, too. Not
Thank
just UofL. Welcome to Louisville.
Thank you.
Where'd you come from?
Columbia, South Carolina is where
Okay.
I spent my last 10 years.
South Carolina?
Yeah.
You can hardly tell you're from South Carolina.
It doesn't show, huh?
No, it doesn't show at all. Well, welcome to the University of Louisville and UofL. So you did a study on the Ferguson Effect.
Yes.
What prompted you to do this study?
So there was this growing sense that something was going on with the police where it seemed like every other day in the news there was a new story about use of excessive force, particularly against minority citizens. And so we had an opportunity to do a survey back in late January, early February, and we had some questions that tapped into this idea that the police were sensitive to this negative publicity and it was affecting the way they do their jobs.
So what'd you find?
So we found that there does appear to be a slight Ferguson effect with respect to police willingness to engage in community partnership. So we believe it would be difficult to connect a Ferguson effect to violent crime rates. Although it may be going up in some cities across the nation, there's just a lot of stuff going on where it would be hard to establish that relationship. But the theory is that the police are being less aggressive. And so we operationalize our dependent variable as this scale that taps into willingness to partner with the community to solve problems. So going back 20 or 30 years, community policing is really focused on this aspect of the job. And so we hypothesized that perhaps that negative publicity would decrease their willingness to partner. And in fact, they were slightly. Those officers who perceived the publicity as being bad and affecting their job did indicate being less willing to work with the community. However, once we control for other important concepts like confidence in their authority and perceptions of their agency, that effect is reduced to nil. So it's very much less important than those other concepts.
So I think what you're telling me is that individual police officers, the publicity and the negative media are affecting individual police officers in different ways, or individual departments based on leadership in different ways. Is that a fair assessment?
So if we're talking about willingness to partner with the community, what our study shows is that it's more important that officers perceive their agency as being fair in handling disciplinary matters and promotions and salary decisions and so forth. And it's more important that they have confidence in their own authority as law enforcement officers, this idea of being self-legitimate. Those things are more important than any alleged Ferguson effect.
And when you say to get out in the community, you mean community policing and getting out in the neighborhoods and on foot, those kinds of things?
Yeah, and working with the community together to solve problems and believing that that's an important aspect of law enforcement.
And you looked at, was it one police department or a couple of police departments? What did you do to get your survey sample? How'd you figure this out?
It was one sheriff's department in the southeast. I can't tell you where because of confidentiality, but we had endorsement from the sheriff and the agencies. They have a council of deputies that they're very, very well respected throughout the agency. So they endorsed our survey, and we administered it online at a password-secure website back in early February. The entire agency was asked to participate, and we got about an 85% response rate, which is outstanding. So,
and this was the big sheriff's department, as I recall, right?
Yes, so it serves a jurisdiction
just,
of
20 sheriff's deputies that responded.
No. The sample was 567, and it serves a pretty large metropolitan area of about 393,000 citizens.
And did you find from their responses that some officers said, "Yeah, I'm afraid to even arrest an African American. I'm a white cop. I'm afraid to arrest an African American because I'm afraid somebody's going to get it on their cell phone. It's going to blow up. It's going to look bad on me." And then you had some others that said, "Nah, I'm just going to do my job."
Well, we weren't able to tap into that specific question, but we did have, several officers indicate, a good portion of our sample indicate that they felt that the job has become more difficult, that they are being less proactive as a result of bad publicity, that the job has become less enjoyable, things of that nature.
Have on body cams paid any? The police now have cameras on their bodies. The Louisville Police Department's implementing them. Yes. The University of Louisville Police Department's implementing them.
Yes.
Is that having any impact on this or not, or did you not survey that?
We weren't able to capture that in our survey, and I think it's still a little early to tell, given that this just occurred. If we want to talk about Ferguson, that occurred last August in 2014. So agencies are just now starting to adopt these body-worn cameras, and we have some early research that might suggest that it's good for the police to be able to show their side of the story when these things do happen.
All right, we're talking with Justin Nix from the Criminal Justice Department at the University of Louisville, and he's talking about a study that he co-authored on the Ferguson Effect and what impact is it having on policing. The FBI director just a few days ago said it is having an impact, that
Yes.
there is a Ferguson effect. It's real, and that's why crime is going up in some selected cities.
Yes.
What would you say?
I would say that he's relying on anecdotal evidence, and as he even says, his intuition. I think later in that same interview, he said that he didn't really have any empirical evidence to back that up. So, yes, crime has been on the rise in a couple of major cities throughout the country, but it's important to remember that crime's been going down nationally for 25 years now. So at some point, it might begin to appear to be going back up, but it's because we're experiencing record lows. I think it's very much too early to attribute those rises in some cities to a Ferguson effect.
You mentioned already that if the police department's very supportive and fair, that police officers are just going to do their job and they're not going to be worried too much about the media and the publicity are surrounding these cases. What about the immediate supervisor, the immediate boss of these officers? Does that play a role in how they view their job and their willingness to go, or perhaps, a little further and jump out of the car and help somebody, or to stop a crime from happening, than just sitting in their car and saying, there's cell phones all around here. I don't want to fool with that.
It's absolutely important. And so, police agencies operate on a chain of command. And so that sergeant or that corporal that they directly answer to have, an enormous impact on their jobs and the way they perceive their jobs. And so what we see is that officers who perceive their immediate supervisors as being fair and just tend to be more trusting of their organization, even if they might have unfair perceptions of command staff, people higher up who they don't interact with as much. As long as that immediate supervisor is seen as fair, it can have positive implications.
All right, so the bottom line, people walk up and say, "Hey, Justin, I didn't get a chance to read all your study, but I heard you did one on the Ferguson effect. So is there a Ferguson effect or not?" What do you tell them?
I do not think so, but time will tell. So hopefully some studies are on the way which can speak more directly to the crime effect.
On whether crime's going up
Correct.
Related to officers not being willing to jump out and do their jobs.
Correct.
So you don't think there's a broad Ferguson effect?
I don't think so. And for a leader of an agency to come out and say that, it almost suggests that he or she doesn't have confidence that his officers can do the job effectively and professionally without being captured on video doing something wrong. So I just think it's sort of a political catchphrase right now, and we need to take a step back and assess the evidence first.
Are you going to do some more study on this?
I hope to.
Okay, very good. Justin Nix from the University of Louisville Criminal Justice Department, thank you for being with us. And again, welcome to Louisville and the University of Louisville.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, when we come back, you know that UofL student-athletes are getting their job done on the field and in the classroom. Well, what about the community? We'll meet a couple of them in just a minute when we come back on UofL Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville.
My name's Natalie. I'm a junior studying communications at the University of Louisville. UofL has given me mentorship opportunities. I'm in the honors program. I've had a lot of opportunities through that. I got involved in Greek life. I'm a Cardinal ambassador, so I get to show people what I love about our university. And then I'm also on the student orientation staff, so I get to work with the incoming freshmen and calm any of their nerves about college, and just show them my passion for UofL and hopefully transfer that to them. Family is really what it's all about here at UofL. Go Cards!
Welcome back to UofL Today with Mark Hebert again. Welcome to all of you who are watching on Metro TV and listening on 93.9 The Ville. Now, you may have seen UofL student athletes doing some good deeds in the community, but I doubt that you have any idea the extent to which that goes on. It is unbelievable. We're going to talk about it right now with Monica Negron, who is in community relations with the athletics department, and she's brought with her Tim Kubel from the soccer team, the men's soccer team, and Olivia Bosing with the women's tennis team. So welcome to all three of you. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, Monica, let's talk a little bit about the community service projects that are within the athletic department and student athletes. What's so cool and what's so big about what these student athletes are doing?
So the community outreach falls under our Cards Care program. So that is just a program that it's been in state for obviously various years, and keeps it important to the student athletes to kind of give back to the Louisville community. They know that they're pretty much the hot shots in Louisville since they're pretty much the professional sports. So we always get a bunch of requests from different organizations around Louisville, and they're always just eager to have student athletes. They love Olympic sports. They love seeing football, basketball. They love understanding what lacrosse is. As a former lacrosse player, they ask me how do you play that? What is that? So it's so fun to see the student athletes kind of interact with the youth and definitely all the different age groups and the different ethnic groups within Louisville.
And the big deal for UofL fans that they can really take pride in is what? We are ranked in terms of community service?
Right now, in the past few weeks, we've been going first and second every other week, kind of battling with other Division I teams in the NCAA Teamworks competition. So the competition actually started last January with the introduction of this community service app called Helper Helper. Helper Helper allows student athletes to be able to view opportunities, track their service, and it's an easy way for us coordinators to be able to see what our teams are doing and how we can constantly be providing service to them. From January to April was the first competition. We came in second overall and first regionally. And then the next competition for this year started September 1st and will go until December 15th. So we were ranked probably mid-pack in the beginning, and then thanks to baseball, they went on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic, and that racked in plenty of hours. So it was great seeing a team that hasn't done a lot in the past, but them taking the initiative and really wanting to do more. In the past couple of weeks, we've been ranked first, and I'm hopefully to see us ranked first again after this week. We have a lot of stuff going on this week.
So in this new rankings of NCAA, is it all Division I or all schools, period?
So
teams?
They have Division I and Division II. So overall, we are second, and then overall we were second again last week, and then same thing, we were ranked first overall, and then first Division I as well.
Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you on how many hours we're talking about because it's a lot. Stick with us for a second here. All right, Olivia Bosing, you're on the tennis team.
Yes.
So how many times a day do you practice in season?
We practice about 2 times a day. We have an actual practice with the team, and then we have individuals every morning.
So you're practicing twice a day. How many hours of classes are you taking right this semester?
I'm taking 15 hours of classes this semester.
You're taking 15 hours of classes. You're going to 2 practices a day, and you've done how much community service work in the last 6 months or year, or however it's total?
I've done a little over 200 hours individually.
So when do you find time to do that?
I did a lot of my community service in the summer, but every weekend our team tries to do about 2 or 3 hours of community service per weekend.
How do you do it?
We do it for a lot of different reasons, but we just feel like we have been blessed with a platform here at the University of Louisville, and the community has given us so much, and so we love to give back to the community. My team specifically loves to work with children, and we just love pouring into children and just being able to use our talents and abilities to just speak to them about what's important in life.
I'm Tim Kubel from the soccer team. I hope I pronounced that last name right, did I? Was I close at least? It was close. Okay. You're a sophomore here, and how many hours are you taking in classes?
I'm taking 16.
So you're taking 16 hours, and I know the soccer team practices a lot because it's near our building where the soccer practice field is, so I know you guys are out there all the time, right?
Yeah, we practice 3 to 4 hours a day.
Okay. So and how much community service have you done?
I mean, like Olivia, I've done a lot of stuff in the summer when I went to Vietnam, so I think I got like 130 hours back in there. And I mean, we try to do it as much as possible, but I'm a business major and I have to do a lot of homework as well as many other student athletes. But we just try to find opportunities on the weekend, on late nights, sometimes like wheelchair basketball from 6 to 8 in the afternoon. And yeah, that's how we get the hours in.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I'll ask about Vietnam first. So tell me about the trip to Vietnam.
It was awesome. It was awesome just to get an opportunity from UofL, first of all, to be a student athlete, like Olivia said, to get the platform to actually help people, and then to go overseas and help the community over there as a student athlete from America was just awesome. It was a blessing for me because our coach always used to say that when you help others, you help yourself, because then you realize how to appreciate things. And in Vietnam, they had like the living minute, living. How was it? It was hard to explain because it's like so much. Like they live basically like in self-built houses, and you appreciate like things like just a normal house, like a blanket. You appreciate it so much more when you get back to America, and that's just like stuff I'm gonna benefit, I think, the rest of my life from that experience in Vietnam.
So you've learned something through that
I've
experience.
learned so many things, yeah.
All right. And Olivia, what are some of the things that you have done? I mean, give me an example of some of the community service that you've done. Monica was saying that you do a lot with your church, but you also do some other, like wheelchair games, or what was it, wheelchair basketball? Wheelchair basketball. What else do you do?
Like you said, I worked a couple of church camps this summer for elementary school kids, and then my team likes to do the races. So we walked the breast cancer awareness walk. We walk different races, work those. We're working just an event for kids this weekend, and just how to keep kids healthy and different events like that.
Well, I think a lot of folks know, when you see the football players or the basketball players on TV, because they're the ones that everybody knows, that you see them out during the community. But tennis team, soccer team, gymnastics. Well, we don't have a gymnastics team. That's a bad example, isn't it? Swim team. Those folks, I don't think as many people know them. They don't get as much publicity. So I think it's important that we understand that our student athletes are doing something other than just going to class and showing up on the field of play. Is that really what we're talking about here, Monica?
Yeah, definitely. It's just kind of letting people know that our student athletes are very evolved, like very well-rounded student athletes, and that pays the tribute to our administration and our L-Care program, which is it's the umbrella organization where Cards Care is. L-Care is our student athlete development. So that houses all the different student athlete groups. These are our SAC reps, which is like the student council for student athletes. We have an international group. We have a group that works with sustainability. We have leadership groups and a bunch of different groups, career services, mental conditioning, mental coaching. All of that falls under L-Care, and it's great to see that we have so much support, and our athletes are given so much, and they are giving back as well.
And we should mention that Tim and Olivia are the top 2 hours worked in community service work student athletes, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good job to both of you.
Thank you.
Now, I did promise that we'd give the total hours that U of L student athletes have been involved in community service. So why don't you give us that for this year?
So since April, we our clock is April to April of each year, since the Louis, the end of the year banquet's always at the end of April. So we always want to make sure they're pretty competitive between the teams, as most athletes are. So at last year, we had 8,000 hours completed from 2014-2015 season. And this year, since April thus far, student athletes have done over 6,300 hours.
Wow. That's a bunch of hours. That's a bunch of time.
Bunch of time.
And you've got how many student athletes?
About 680.
So that works out to what, about 10 hours each? Mm-hmm. Well, of course, that's balanced with Tim's 175 or whatever
so
it was, hours,
it's
or 130
definitely balanced
hours, or whatever.
for some of our kiddos that have done a lot. But definitely the goal is to have each student athlete do at least 10 to 15 throughout the year.
Olivia, where are you from?
Floyd's Knobs, Indiana.
Oh, so you're from here. Okay. Yeah. And Tim, where are you from?
Germany.
Originally. Did you have anything in your high schools similar to this? Or is this something that you did as high schoolers, or is this something you've just taken on since you've gotten to the University of Louisville?
I worked through student council and did the dance marathon there, and that got me started, but it's definitely gotten a lot bigger in my life since high school.
Good. Tim?
I mean, in Germany, we don't have stuff like social community hours, honestly. Like, we did stuff for my club soccer team. I remember that. We went to hospitals because we were, like, known because soccer is, like, the only sport in Germany, so we're actually pretty famous there. So we did a lot of visits in hospitals for, like, cancer kids with cancer, and that's what we mainly did, but it wasn't recorded as community service hours. It was just like a nice gesture.
Right. Okay. So you're glad you're doing this now?
Yeah.
I mean, do you enjoy doing it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope so, since you're doing a lot of hours, and we appreciate it. Monica, any final words about these great student athletes that are doing great work out there in the community?
I mean, we love having them, and just letting people know that Louisville student athletes are just excited to give back, and we're kind of excited to see where we'll end up for the rest of the competition, and then kind of see all of our teams that haven't done that much in the past, seeing them do a lot more. It's pretty makes us pretty happy too. So we're excited to see how this year will go.
All right, Monica Negron with the U of L Athletics Department, Tim Kubel from the soccer team, and Olivia Bosing with the women's tennis. Thanks for being with us. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Keep going out and doing that good work. We appreciate it. All right, after the break, we'll talk some more about good works in the community, this time with the head of the Latin American and Latino Studies program. You're listening to U of L Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville.
This is our time to soar. We are an unstoppable force of innovation and academic excellence, solving the world's mysteries through research, stimulating growth in our community and beyond, and inspiring the next generation of leaders to build a better future for all of us. We are the University of Louisville. Watch us take flight.
Welcome back to U of L Today with Mark Hebert. Rhonda Buchanan is very well known in the Louisville community. She gets around, and that's a good thing. And she's a bundle of energy, and she's with us now. And Rhonda is the director of the Latin American and Latin Studies program at the University of Louisville. She's got a bright, big smile for those of you who can't see her on radio, but you're watching on Metro TV. So, Rhonda, welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
No problem. How you doing?
I'm doing just great.
Great. All right, so what's going on in the Latin American and Latino Studies program?
Well, lots has just happened. We just got off the heels of a big downtown Day of the Dead celebration and took down an altar just this week at Hotel Louisville, and we're gearing up for our annual winter coat drive for the Kentucky Refugee Ministries.
You got some stuff going on out in the community.
That's for sure, because community engagement is the cornerstone of our program.
Why is that? Why? And is it part of the program that the students actually have to do some community engagement?
Absolutely. It has been the cornerstone since the program was first founded in 2001 as Latin American Studies, and then in 2007 we added Latino Studies to it, so it's now called Latin American and Latino Studies. And we offer a major and a minor, and undergraduates have a required internship in the community, or they can also do one abroad. We also have a graduate certificate, and many of those students choose to do an internship.
So it's within the program. You have to do something out in the community or something abroad when you get into the program.
It's a very well-established internship with 80 hours of community service, and we have over 20 sites that we serve locally, including Adelante Hispanic Achievers that just celebrated its 10th year anniversary.
You mentioned Hotel Louisville. We've talked about that on the show, the collaboration with the Wayside Christian Mission, which operates Hotel Louisville. What do your students and your faculty and staff do with Hotel Louisville?
Well, actually, it's our brand new internship site. I will be setting up the first intern to go there next spring, and that particular student is interested in hotel hospitality. So it's the perfect match. We try to match our students with their career interests, such as pre-med students. I will send them to the Kentucky Racing Health Services Center on the backside of Churchill Downs, or those interested in education, I would send them to intern at Adelante Hispanic Achievers. Kentucky Refugee Ministries loves to receive our students who are from the Kent School of Social Work or interested in social work.
Let's talk about the program in general, the Latin American and Latino Studies program in general. What kind of students, what would be their interest in getting into this program and getting a major or a minor in that program?
Yes, it's an interdisciplinary program, and so the courses that are offered are taught by professors of history, poli-sci, anthropology, sociology, communication, and many more programs. And of course, with the growing Latino population, it's a wonderful, most of our students, I would say, either double or triple major. And so they'll combine a major in Latin American and Latino Studies with a major in sociology, in psychology, in Spanish, in history, political science. And I do believe knowing Spanish, they have a language requirement, also will give them a big edge when they go out and try to find a job.
So that's part of the requirement as well. You have to be able to speak Spanish.
Yes, indeed.
So do you have a lot of Hispanic students?
We have a lot of Latino students, and as a matter of fact, we are just launching a new Sueño Centenario scholarship for Latino students.
That's easy for you to say.
That's easy for me to say. And we also have a Lewis Scholar Award that sends students abroad. To date, we've sent over 127 students to Latin America and Spain, as well as fellowships for faculty, and those applications are out there right now.
And those students will learn what?
Well, they'll take an approved study abroad program. It might be in Argentina, Cuba, Mexico, Costa Rica, and so those credits will count toward the degree requirements. We also have a program in Panama, and we have sent over 300 students as Panama scholars to study in Panama City, La Ciudad de Panama. Not Florida.
And my son's actually interested in that program. He's trying to decide whether he wants to apply or not. He's taking a Spanish minor.
Well, you should send him to see me. As
I'm
a matter
sure
of fact, your intern, David Sissel, just went last year. And so as I told him, once a Panama scholar, always a Panama scholar, and an ambassador for our program.
Well, good. And David really enjoyed it. He says he had a good time. So and he learned something.
I would hope so.
The whole idea, I suppose, huh?
Yes, indeed.
What other programs do you have within this program of studies that you think are important for any student perhaps to have?
Yes, we have an LELS club, and the mission of our club is outreach to the community. And so one of our places that we send students is very close to campus, and it is also an internship site, and that is Doors to Hope. And Doors to Hope is near the James Patterson Baseball Stadium in Holy Name Church. And the students go there and do tutoring and mentoring for Latino families. And we have a student now who's interning and doing his teaching ESL classes. But anyone can do that, and you don't have to speak Spanish.
It seems that U of L has a very broad set of programs, not just in Latin American and Latino studies, but you said it was interdisciplinary for going out in the community, dealing with Hispanic folks. At Churchill Downs, we've got some programs in the nursing program. Is that the case? Is there a really broad-based effort, I guess, is the lack of a better term, to get folks that are in the Latin American and Latino studies and in other programs at the university to engage with the Latino and Hispanic communities in Louisville?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate to work with the mayor's office of globalization, and we've been for some time working on the 2020 55,000 degree program, which has the Behold 1,500 Latinos. And Mr. Ben Ruiz, who's a member of our steering committee, has helped enormously with that, and he just founded a new Louisville Latino Council. And so we have a great connection there to the community, and we have worked with the Human Relations Office for cross-cultural connections between African Americans and Hispanic Latinos, and all of these efforts are ongoing.
Do you find that the University of Louisville community as a whole, the faculty, staff, students, are very supportive of Hispanics?
Absolutely, I do. And I do believe that, evidence that we have the largest population now of incoming freshmen that are Latino is a sign that we are that the population is growing, and we are serving that population, and more of the students coming into the Latin American Latino Studies program are Latino. I can give you an example. For example, one of our interns is from Cuba, and her family was received by Kentucky Refugee Ministries when she was a young girl. And just last year, I sent her to Kentucky Refugee Ministries to do her internship, so that's paying it forward, if you ask me.
That is awesome.
Paying it forward and backwards, full circle.
That's very, very good.
And they loved her so much they gave her a job.
Yay.
Yay.
Jobs are important.
Jobs are important.
All right, so we've got about a minute left. Is there anything that you want to talk about here coming up that folks might be interested in?
Well, we do have an LELS research forum on December 7th in Stevenson Hall at 9 o'clock, and that is when our interns will be presenting their work in the community, and it's a poster session as well. And so I will have all that information on our website, and we would welcome you to visit our website and get all kinds of information about our program and what we have to offer.
What is the website? Because that's the one place people can go
yes,
for information.
www.louisville.edu.
Latin
American Studies.
Latin American Studies.
Latin American Studies. Yes, it comes up automatically for me.
Or go to the main U of L webpage, which is louisville.edu, and type in the search box Latin American Studies.
And you'll get it.
You'll get it. There
That's
you go.
for sure.
All right, Rhonda Buchanan, thanks so much. You can find all the podcast of this program on SoundCloud/U of L, and the video of many of the shows are on YouTube and Metro TV, which is channel 25 on TWC and channel 99 on Uverse. Thanks so much for joining us. You've been listening to U of L Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville.